It appears right now that there's some aid and some escalation going on in the sixth day now of this war with Iran. We don't know how far this will go. We don't know how big this will get. It's too early in the beginning. Nobody ever knows. That's why it's called the fog of war. There's other terms that apply. It's called mission creep. There are unforeseen consequences. We don't know. This could be over quick. If everything goes well, it could just all simmer down and go away. But anybody that tells you they already know how it's going to end, they don't know anything about history. Every big war we've been in started out with us saying either we weren't going to get involved or it was going to be over quick. If you didn't start watching right away, you were going to miss it. We've seen that too many times. That's what always happens. But yeah, the fact that Iran is getting some assistance from Russia and China, that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. We already knew that they all work together. We've known that for decades now. The axis of evil, it's Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran. I mean, that's been clear as day. Why wouldn't they help? But frankly, a lot of people thought they were going to help a lot more than what they're doing. Nobody has shown up with any troops. Nobody is doing anything aggressive. There's a lot of talk now about China sending submarines to the area. There's more likely that China would take advantage of us being busy in this area. This would be a great time for them to do something else, like seize some more islands over there in the South China Sea. This would be a good time for them to go after Taiwan. This would be a good time for Russia or China to get up there in the Arctic, try to establish some kind of foothold on those oil supplies that are up there. There's a lot of other things that could develop, and we don't know where it will go because we don't know what is going on in the backroom meetings of China, Russia, North Korea, and everybody else they're working with. We don't even know where India is going to come down on this because the fact is, as much as India plays like they're our friends, they got a huge population. They got over 1 billion people there, more than 3 times what America has in general population. So we don't know if we can count on them because they play nice with us. Then they go and make backroom trade deals with China that we didn't even know that they were negotiating. They sit on the fence, and we don't know where that will take them. So if they decide to stay neutral, or if they just, that'd be the best case. If they decide to support China in their efforts, they do border each other. I mean, they're in a dangerous situation, much more so than us because we got oceans separating our worst enemies from us. India's parked right next door, so that's something else to keep an eye on. We don't know what other countries are going to do, but we know when push comes to shove, a lot of them can't be trusted. Look at England. Look at Europe in general. They're not doing much to help. That wishy-washy pansy down there in Australia, Albanese, he came out with a response in support of the U.S. when we attacked Iran before Europe did. But where are the terrorists? That's the wild card in this whole thing. There's two wild cards. Number one is what is the will of the American people willing to stand? What are the American people capable of tolerating emotionally? We know that unfortunately, a lot of people that watch the news, it's not really news to them. They watch it because it's soap opera type entertainment. You know, the soap operas used to be a real big thing back in the day. People wouldn't miss it. And then they kind of transferred to the evening type soap operas when they started getting things like that Dallas show that used to be on with Larry Hagman and all the oil people. It was all soap opera type stuff. That Yellowstone series, I've tried to watch it, and it's just the same thing. People love their soap operas. But this is reality TV soap opera for a lot of people. The Daily News. That's why they need it to keep evolving, to keep changing. That's why they forget about stories so fast and just glom on to the next one. Is because it's just entertainment and they're caught in the entertainment style of thinking. You know, look how fast they forget about really big things like Hurricane Helene and all the damage out there. All of the fraud and everything that was uncovered with Elon Musk, by Elon Musk. What do you even hear about that anymore? There's people that should be going to jail. We don't hear a thing about it. It's just gone. Look at the Biden organized crime family corruption and all the money they took from foreign nations without even having real businesses. Foreign nations were paying them money to these companies of theirs that were just shell corporations, that's not even discussed anymore. There's no effort to prosecute anything. We can go in there and we can find every last little hideout in Iran. We know where this guy lives. We know where that guy lives. We know when they're going to their meetings. We couldn't find out who brought cocaine into a restricted area of the White House, the most secured building on the planet, and we couldn't investigate one little bag of cocaine. Yet look at what we're capable of. And people forget. That's the problem. People lose interest. They get tired of the same show. That's going to matter because we don't know about the will of the American people to be able to stick with a long-term war if it turns into a real war. And it could. We still don't know it. It might go away quick if they get it solved. But we have to be prepared for the historical reality that it may not if the other countries decide to act up. If other countries in the region start their own little wars with each other, we don't know. Because the fact is, we're pretty tied up right now. Yes, we have capabilities beyond that, but it's been well known for a while that it would be a real challenge for America to fight wars in two theaters. We know this. This has been discussed internationally. It's well known that there are limits to that, especially with all the technology and stuff they got now. We don't know what it takes to set all that up in a new theater on a surprise. How much will Americans tolerate for high prices? We got so tired of that under Biden. American consumers have been greatly relieved, and we've been celebrating the fact all these prices were going back down again. From the misery index, the Jimmy Carter misery index under Biden, we finally got down. Hell, gas prices were down. Food prices are coming down. Eggs are, a fourth of what they were under Biden. Everything was looking better. And now this. Gas prices were down. They're around $2.50 a gallon where I live. They're already up to $3. That's going to go up. That drives up transportation costs for everything we purchase. We all know this. We've seen this cycle before. We've been through it before. Americans were inflation fatigued. And now that's all gone away. And here we go again because of a choice. This choice did have to be made. I fully support the fact that we went over there and hit them because you can't let them just keep getting worse. You'd think Iran is crazy now, whether they're still saying that they're going to fight back and they're going to destroy us. Look, they have hit 12 other countries. Can you imagine those lunatics that will lash out at everybody? Could you imagine what would have happened to the world if they would have had nuclear power? What if they had nuclear power and went on a rampage and hit 12 countries, just started throwing missiles at everybody in the region? They could have poisoned that region for centuries. There's a reason that we had to do this now, and it was befitting the risk. We needed to do something. But how long will Americans actually have the stomach for a prolonged war if we have to pay a price? How much personal sacrifice are Americans really wanting to do to secure the future of the world that their children and grandchildren are going to live in? It all comes down to who helps and who will back out. But the other thing, too, is what is going on with these terrorist cells? Are they waiting for something? Is there something that's already organized? Because they're all over Europe. We know this. That's a lot of the reason that Europe has been reluctant to help us, because they've got so many of them that they've let in. They're afraid of the people on their own streets and neighborhoods. We've got them here, too. We know that they're here. It has been well documented they're here. If you want to know more about the terrorists, I've already done a couple episodes related to that. But we do know that they're here. They're firmly entrenched. They're in our neighborhoods across the country. So why are they laying low? What are they waiting for? What if we get a bunch of cyber attacks based out of, say, Iran or North Korea? At the same time, China and Russia escalate, or China goes after Taiwan. There's a lot of loose ends. That's my point of this whole conversation. We don't know where this will go. Keep your head on a swivel. Pray that it gets over with quick. Pray that the IRGC, they just say, look, we know we're screwed. We can't do this. But I don't think that's what they do. When they have no means left to pursue the fight that they're in right now, they go terrorist. I mean, that's what they've been doing for 1,400 years. There's no reason to think that they've been healed. There's no reason to think they've come to their senses. When there's nothing left to do on the battlefield, they go underground. They go into the streets. They go in the neighborhoods. We've seen it over in Israel. We've seen a little bit of it here. They blow up a shopping mall. They shoot up a bar. They blow up a restaurant. We've seen this. It becomes a war of terror against civilians at home. So we don't want that. We want this to end quickly. But there's something really weird about the silence from the sleeper cells. I keep talking about this. So, like I say, don't think that this is just a fun slam dunk. I'm seeing too much of this in social media. Oh, we're kicking ass. Trump won. This is over with. We're just mopping up now. That's ignorant talk. That's ignorant talk. Pray we get to that point. We are definitely not there yet. We still can't even open up the Straits of Hormuz and let the oil tankers through. That means that they've got a lot of capable power yet. When we know that they have a chance of sinking oil tankers and we can't prevent them from doing it. That means it's not under control yet. So don't listen to these people who think it's just a matter of mopping up. Now it's all done. Yeah, we've heard them. We've heard them bad. But the problem when you kill Islamic leaders, you just hired a new one. That's all. You know, nobody wants to be an Ayatollah right now. That's about like trying to get somebody to run a drug boat out of Venezuela these days. You know, you don't get a lot of applicants showing up for those jobs anymore. But there's other ways to do it because they've already got their sects. They've already got their little mullahs scattered around here and there. They've already got their terror groups. But you got to remember how these Muslims think, how they work. We just don't know where it's going to go. We don't know how involved China and Russia and North Korea are going to get. This isn't over till it's over. There's a lot of wild cards. So just pay attention and hope we get it right. We got to get it right. And if we do, maybe God will continue to bless this great country of ours. Thanks for listening.